Good evening, everybody. I cannot express my gratitude to Nunu and others who pulled all of us together. Certainly, this has been overdue in terms of that, and just the timing of our coming together here is critical, especially during Black History Month. Because we have the opportunity to deepen and broaden the experience of Black History Month, as African immigrants, because we can extend the memory, and the experience to complement the memory and the experience of our African American brothers and sisters. So it is a powerful opportunity for us to affirm that experience, but also to see how we can, through that affirmation, extend the experience as we continue to remember and celebrate. Last week, or two weekends ago, we gathered in New York City several African immigrant organizations to have the first African Immigrant Interfaith Conference. And it was a powerful experience. The African Services Committee hosted it for us, and we had folk there from about 15 African countries talking about the same things that we talked about tonight around it. And it was just a powerful experience. And so there is a movement taking place around how we can connect the dots, that's been, and put the puzzle back together, in new ways, because if you ever have an opportunity, I'm going to encourage you to Google Berlin Conference 1885, because you will see that we are where we are not by accident. What happened to the continent of Africa happened to be not by accident. There was some folk somewhere at some time planning, strategizing, and plotting, how to break up that continent, and how to, as we define apartheid, how to amplify, the differences between people in such a way that it enables folk to then hate each other so much that we do inhumane things to each other. See, that's what they did to us in South Africa. Keep people apart, amplify their differences, and then teach them to hate each other. That's really the definition of apartheid, in terms of that. And it happened in South Africa, and it's happening all over the world. Whether it is in Sarajevo, whether it is in Australia, and of course here, but we are here because there was an intentional planned device to divide us and to conquer us. We're not going to come together by accident. You see, we will only come together through some intentional, strategic efforts. And the opportunity now is that we have folk of African descent all over the world, including in Russia. Mm-hmm. You see, where one of us might be running for president in the next presidential elections in Russia. They call him the Obama of Russia, in terms of that. So we have folk all over that look like us. That's the thing I enjoy about the World Cup. Just watch the World Cup this year, besides it being in South Africa. If you look at all the teams, you'll be amazed, you see, how many of those teams have Africans on them. I mean, that's a sense of the fact that we are everywhere, in terms of it. So this is just a powerful opportunity for us to come together. The proverb that I brought is one that many of us heard of that I want to use by way of setting up, what I want to say up. And that is the experience of Ubuntu. And Ubuntu is a South African way of defining community. And it basically means I am because you are, and because you are, therefore I am. So this sense of interconnectedness is very, very powerful. And I believe that Martin Luther King Jr. picked up on Ubuntu when he wrote his letter from a Birmingham jail. You see, when he talked in that letter about the fact that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. He talked about the fact that we are all inextricably linked, with a single garment of destiny. I believe that he kind of, somewhere, the ancestors, the African ancestors, stirred him up in that jail, see, and reminded him of Ubuntu, in terms of that. And so that's just a powerful piece for me as a South African in the United States in terms of how do I find ways of realizing that my existence here can only be complete, can only be fully experienced as I seek to make sure that the existence of others who look like me and beyond are also, of that same importance. So I want to offer that up to you in terms of that. When Nunu sent me the agenda and asked me to share some thoughts, I wanted to lift up just a theme in celebration of Black History Month, and that is building railroads above ground. Building railroads above ground. And I get this by celebrating one of my favorite heroes in African American history, and that is Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman, if you Google her, you will find a lot of things out about Harriet Tubman. In terms of the fact that, the risks that she took, the perils that she went through. She was known as the Black Moses. The fact that she was one of the conductors of the Underground Railroad, in fact, one of the initiators or the coordinators of that in terms of freeing black slaves who were enslaved in the South, freeing them, by taking 19 plus trips to go and free, folk, and how that Underground Railroad worked, which in fact didn't just go north, but it also went south into Mexico as well as into the Caribbean, especially Haiti. You see, and that sometimes explains why the U.S. always had a very uneasy relationship with Haiti, because Haiti's very independence threatened the unjust system of slavery in the United States. So when Anderson Cooper does his program that he did this week called Stealing Haiti, we want to remind Anderson that the stealing took place way before Papa Doc and Baby Doc and all the, those who came after Haiti's independence. Yeah, the stealing took place way before that. So now that we have to, help our new news media who can suffer from, conveniently suffer from amnesia, kind of go back a little further, so that we can really, if you want to talk about stealing, we can really talk about some stealing now, in terms of how Haiti was used in terms of that. But Harriet Tubman was a central figure in the Underground Railroad. And